A very warm welcome to another episode of Fauza's Diaries. If you are looking for something little and yet inspiring, then you have stumbled upon the right show. That's the beauty about my diaries. They inspire us, they encourage us, but also they make us think. Joining me today on this particular diary is a sister friend who I am so blessed to have known for the last couple of, I would say, months. It's almost a year now so far. And she has been such a blessing, not only to me, but to the community that we are actually both serving here in Dubai. Her name is PRISCILLA, and she is a couple and family therapist. And girl, she loves the Lord too, right? And I'm so happy that she said, yes, I can do this. So PRISCILLA, thank you so much, dear, for saying yes to have this conversation with me. I would like for us to get to know a little bit about PRISCILLA. You know, who is PRISCILLA and what actually led her really to tap into couple and family therapy, because it's something that I feel like it's at heart. And
Yeah.
how did it actually start? What led
Oh,
you
wow.
into this journey?
Oh, well, that's a great question. Thank you so much, Fauza, for having me. And it's such a pleasure to be able to come on and to share my story and to talk about our topic today.
Mhm.
Well, what led me to do what I'm doing? So I guess there's always a story behind the vision of what I'm doing. I decided to become a therapist simply because of my own background, my own upbringing. So I'm born and raised in Malaysia, from Malaysia, moved to Dubai about almost 12 years ago. And so when I started off in the faith, so I was born and raised Catholic, and then I got born again. You know, when I got born again at that point of time, I was going through so much in my life because I was also struggling with depression. I was struggling with a lot of um, relational problems. There was a lot of problems in my own family at that point of time. So I thankfully, got into a church that had such an amazing uh, counseling program. So the program really helped me. I had gone through it a couple of years, actually, intensively, 2 or 3 years of intensive counseling and training at the same time. And that really helped me. It really helped me understand that. I think it first gave me hope
Mhm.
because I came to a place where I thought this was it. This was my life, and this is how it's going to turn out, and this is how it's going to be forever and ever. But suddenly, to find an encounter within a safe space, having my own counselor at that time, who was my pastor, say to
Mhm.
me, this is not the end. This is how it should be, and this is how you can get there,
Mhm.
gave me hope like I never had before for the first 20 years of my life because I really, really struggled. And that kind of fueled me to begin to believe that there was something more out there. There was more than um, than just disappointment. There was just more than, you know, generational trauma. There was more than you just having to live with whatever you are living with. So
Yeah.
I began to pursue that. I got excited about that. And I
Mhm.
started to see it become a reality in my own life
Yeah.
because, even in my own relationship with my husband, the initial years were really, really difficult because we both came from backgrounds that were not the best of families. And so putting us two both together, being very strong-headed people, we had our own clashes. But when
Mm.
we started to receive counsel and started to receive guidance, and we started to see just applying the tools, the skills, the understanding, the wisdom into our own relationship and into my own personal life, I
Mhm.
started to see a huge transformation. And it was not something that was overnight. Obviously, it was progressive. It took time. It took uh, consistency. But the kind of transformation that we found was not just becoming better and feeling better. It was
Mhm.
freedom. It was
Oh.
absolute freedom. Freedom in the sense that I found that we started to break off from our own strongholds, our bondages,
Mm-hmm.
and started to experience what we were told this is how life should be.
Mm-hmm.
That joy, that peace, and became a reality for us, became a reality for me. And so that's why I decided to become a therapist, because I believe that at the end of the day, I didn't want people to, just as how I was stuck, I didn't want people to remain stuck forever. I
Yeah.
wanted to show them that this was the way, this is how you can achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a path for it. Don't give up. Um, Hence why I specifically chose couple and family,
Yeah.
simply because both marriage and family is generational. It has a generational impact. And in that sense, that our past affects our
Mm-hmm.
present affects our future. And
Mm-hmm.
so how we lead our lives today and do marriage and family today is going to either leave a legacy, some sort of a legacy for our children. And
Yeah.
hopefully that legacy is going to bless them so that they do better. So that's my story in a nutshell.
And it's a beautiful story, Priscilla. But I honestly I love listening to you because, we've had an opportunity for you to share, to our other ministries of Fortress. And I think
Yeah,
that's something that has not only encouraged me as a person, but it has also encouraged the Fortress women in our community as well.
yeah,
But the year has started, Priscilla, and I think that's a beautiful, journey that you have journeyed along. And it's amazing that you have come on the other side of the story,
yeah,
the other side of the story, and now you're actually helping other people. You're helping families, you're helping couples, youths,
yeah, yeah,
But I don't know, I just feel that there are other people, they're like, okay, now the year has started. That's why I wanted us to have this conversation, because maybe there are people who marriages are breaking apart,
yeah.
children, they have gone whatever different ways, and the year has begun. So as the year started, I just want us to focus a bit on, how can we streamline
Yeah,
the year. I don't know. And
yeah,
some people call it a vision. Other people, they
yeah,
call it dream building. Other people,
yeah.
there is depending with where you come from, everybody has a different description. But then how do we really actually streamline, the vision? How do we build that? The
Hmm.
goals, and is even the vision and the goals, is it the same thing, or are they two things, different? So
Yeah,
I would like for us to talk a bit about that, because
yeah,
I think even in the Bible, there are so many stories about vision,
yes, yeah,
Habakkuk
yeah,
is having this conversation with the Lord, So there
yeah,
is just a lot. So how would you sort of guide us? I would like for us to
yeah,
talk about this today. How can
yeah.
we build
That's
the vision?
sure. And the amazing thing about starting a new year is we always get to start with new beginnings. In fact, if you look at it, it's not just the new year. Sometimes people kind of get caught up with the fact that it's a new year, which is great. It's amazing. You have to start at the beginning to try to put in all those resolutions and start whatever that we didn't get to do the year before. But every day pretty much is a new beginning.
Mm,
And that's perhaps we can all start to look with that perspective and see that even if I didn't get it started at the beginning of this month, I can start it
yeah,
tomorrow. And I there's always a chance to start it every day, because every day is a new day. But when it comes to one of the things about developing a vision for yourself or for your family or for whatever, whether it's your business, a relationship, I think it always starts from a place where, because vision, the word vision is the ability to see, but to see something that is not yet come to pass yet. And we've got to understand that there's an ability for all of us actually inside of us to see. And one of those simple exercises that we did at our Fortress meeting was, if you were to close your eyes and just open up your imagination and picture a green elephant sitting on a pink cake, you can actually see that with your eyes closed. the possibilities are endless with our imagination. And we've been given that resource simply because we not just to imagine what our lives could be or the possibilities, but it's even to help us in times and moments of difficulty. Because sometimes when we're so surrounded with whatever that's going on in our lives, it's hard to imagine there's anything more than this. Can we? And I was in that place. That's exactly my story. It's hard to imagine yourself thinking that tomorrow is going to be better, or something would change the following week, or I've dealt with this for so long, I've been stuck in this place. I'll never be able to lose that weight. I'll never be able to recover from this relationship. I'll never be able to achieve the goals that I have for my business. We get stuck in this place of disappointment. And that's the thing about a lot of what kills vision is really disappointment. Disappointment from the past. Disappointment in our relationships. Disappointment that things did not go well. But the irony of life is that part of actually developing or achieving our vision is actually being able to navigate and transition through disappointments in life.
Wow.
So for us, so sitting down and planning our goals and our vision and what we want to achieve, make sure you include in your plan. The first thing is to include in the plan is, how am I going to transition through difficulties and disappointments in my life? No one really thinks about that, but we have to, because we sometimes the vision that we the desire to achieve something in life is very much the pursuit of what we want or what I want. Nothing wrong with that, except that what I want and what I desire sometimes doesn't leave space for how am I going to navigate through difficulties that come my way.
But I
because
think,
the self.
but I think, Priscilla, I think, sorry, it's because of how the world is conditioning us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a
But
very.
they don't actually tell us that in this vision you have written, there will be ups and downs, but they won't sort of say actually how do you actually navigate the downs. They only tell you, put on your Range Rover on that board.
That's right. Absolutely, that is so true. And that's why, because it's so self-made, it's so self-independent, that the self doesn't know how to even deal with something that doesn't go the way the self has planned it. So when we fall apart, everything falls apart. That's why another part of building vision is, I always ask the question as, who are you taking along with you? Who's on this journey with you? If you're building your vision board, make sure you've got part of that vision is you're including someone who's there with you, who's either mentoring you, who's guiding you, who's speaking into your life, who's investing in you, whom you are also investing into. Because part of building a vision is never an isolated space. It's never an isolated thing. It's always who is on this journey with you. Because when we actually face the disappointment in life, it's always someone that we can actually turn to. That helps us come out of the place and space of difficulty and disappointment. But that's the first two keys, I think, just to put out there, just to say that if you're looking at starting this year, perhaps start to look at this year in the sense of, okay, what do you want? How do you want to achieve this? But look at it from a perspective of, have you built or equipped yourself to be able to navigate through the ups and downs or the challenges in building this vision? So let's look at your track record, or let's look at the pattern in the past. How have you handled disappointment? If it's not been so great, let's start there, because part of overcoming disappointment or building or developing resiliency is part of our identity. So identity, who we are, the more secure we are, the more stable we are, the more peaceful we are, the more clearer the vision will be.
Yeah.
So start with that. Start with that in that sense. Let's start to look at what skills. That's why I tell people, rather than being focused about your disappointment, what skills can you build this year?
Yeah.
What can you look for? How can you invest in perhaps, okay, look, you struggled relationally, and build your skills relationally. Invest yourself in therapy. Don't wait until it's the last minute when things are breaking down. Whether it's in therapy, it's coaching, there's so many resources out there. Learn how to build your skills now, because that's
Yeah.
going to help you when challenges come your way. And then, of course, who are you taking along on this journey?
It's not about me, Priscilla. Are you saying it's not about Fauza?
No, it's not me and myself and I. Although we all like it to be.
I know that's something that most of us don't want to hear, is it? But I think I love actually the part there you have included there, the disappointments, because really and truly and behold, not everything that you will write down, especially the things of self, because of the things of self, they're of this world, right?
Yes.
And because they are of this world, when we don't actually get to get that Range Rover or that dream holiday or that dream whatever, that everybody has their own dreams, Priscilla, right? That's when the disappointments comes. And I love what you said, who are you taking along with you?
Yes.
So that when we find ourselves on the crossroads, we can look left, right, center and say, okay, Priscilla, this is how I am feeling because of A, B, C, D, what will be your advice to me,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I also feel, Priscilla, think we also have to be sort of, because in the real world, these things, most people, they assume that they will really be as they are, right? But so I want us to talk a bit about these strategies. You shared a bit about what tools, what has been your journey, so that in case we encounter the details of life, how we're gonna deal with those disappointments as well. But how can we actually, like someone who is watching or listening to us, I mean, for me, a good scripture, Priscilla, that really, really I keep on going, it's Habakkuk. Even he's having this conversation with the Lord, and the Lord says to him, Habakkuk, just wait for the vision. For appointment, for an appointed time. It will not tarry, but just be patient. And some of us are not actually patient, right? But this is a conversation with Habakkuk and the Lord. In the scripture, it's in Habakkuk 2:1, chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. You can go, if you're listening to us, you can go and read that scripture. But I would like for you to give us a bit of sort of a strategy, right? Let's say it's my marriage, it's my career, it's a business, it's my teenager, because all these things, everybody has their own dreams. Everybody said, this year, I want to be, this and this to come to pass. It could be my prayer, faith, it could be anything, health, anything.
Yep, absolutely. When you talk about, I think post-pandemic, I have to say, since 2020, I think a lot of people have just lost a lot of their, whether it's their mental, emotional, physical strength, because there's been just battle after battle. We've been fighting, and so we're in a position like, it's so hard to dream again. And for some of us, it's probably been many more years prior to that. When we are trying to, looking practically now at this new year, and we want to be able to at least, get some place or move a little bit forward in our lives, whether in any sphere of our lives, the first thing I would say is to, break it down.
Okay.
Just break it down a little bit, because sometimes when we're going through so much in our lives, or we're handling so much, or the key step in starting to rebuild is always having a plan. And the plan always has to be in bite sizes. So break it down. What is the most important? Sort of prioritize that and start to see what is the most important that you want to focus on. What is it that you want to build? Okay, so if you want to build something relationally, then okay, then you're looking at, let's look at how I can prioritize my time a little bit more in my family, or with my partner, with my spouse, or with my children, or whatever it is. If I'm building with my business, then I'm trying to build time with my business and my family. How do I balance that out? At the end of the day, it's not about the full vision. Yes, we all have that big picture that we want to arrive at, but the first step is always to break it down. And because when we break it down into what we want to achieve in bite sizes, it's the small things that we make it happen in our life that gives us the encouragement to go on to the big things. It's basically stewardship. If I find that I can steward 1 hour at the gym, and steward just being able to cut down from white carbs to nutritious carbs, so to speak.
Don't go there,
I can cut
Priscilla.
down 2 slices of bread every morning to 1 slice of bread. I'm on the right path. That's how we start. That's really the practical space, because sometimes we want the everything. We want everything to happen. We live in a time and a space where today, because of social media, because of the fast-paced life that we live, we want things to happen immediately. Hence why I like what you said. It's about having a little bit of patience and learning how to walk the journey and the process out. So practically, I would say break it down. Prioritize the small things first. Second, the second step is really to start to get consistent. And that's where stewardship and consistency is key. Now, most people struggle in the consistency bit, as in staying consistent day in, day out, putting in the same routine, or applying the same skill day in and day out, same priorities day in and day out. That's where this is the part where it's important to stay accountable. Like, who is in this journey with you? Who
Again,
are
I
you
love
accountable to?
that.
Who's walking this path with you? Who's who can you pick up the phone and say, oh my God, I messed up today. Can you pray for me? Can you help me? The Today, more and more people struggle to remain consistent on their journey is because they're walking this path out alone, this journey alone. And that's where, if you want to stay consistent throughout this year and see results, and see that you get to your destination and the whatever that you're looking to achieve, have someone with you. Have one person with you. If it's not 2 people, or someone that you are staying accountable to, that is really important. And part of this consistency is building relationships, not just to have someone invest in you, but also I would highly encourage those who are on a journey to seeing their dreams come to pass, is also, what are you doing for others? What are you investing in giving to others? There's plenty of research out there that has been done on cancer patients. And it's interesting, those who are struggling with cancer, and it is a very difficult, almost sometimes a hopeless disease. When you're going through that, you don't know what is the end result.
Yeah.
But there's been research done on patients with debilitating diseases where, it could be terminal, it could not be terminal, but when patients in such a manner who are not stuck in just, I'm struggling, but they are taking that struggle and they are going out and they are talking to other cancer patients. They are going out and they are comforting others. They are going out and they are investing into other people's lives. It's interesting how that itself motivates and encourages the person who's giving and investing to want to stay on and fight this battle, to stay on this path and be consistent, because they see that this exchange of comfort, this exchange of advice, this exchange of life, so to speak, I'm encouraging you and I'm building you up. It fuels me to want to stay on this path. It's quite amazing, because that's a scripture actually from Isaiah, if I'm not mistaken, Isaiah 55, where it says that when our light will shine so bright, I'm rephrasing here, when we actually learn how to pray, invest, and give unto the other person. Because it's not all about me, myself, and I.
That's
So
what
these are
we've
the
been programmed to believe. And that's
that's
why
right.
sometimes it's so hard. The world has programmed us. But I love what you have just shared, that it's not only about us, it's also about what are you doing for the other person, and what you have consistently kept on advising or sharing is about who are you, who are you journeying along.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's holding somebody's hand and having somebody else hold our hand keeps us consistent, keeps us consistent and disciplined, because there's always accountability. That's why it's go work out in the gym with a private trainer than on our own. It's easy to go for a jog into a 2-kilometer jog with somebody else than on our own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mine is built.
Yeah. Well, I think we all have some homework to do, especially looking at the year has just started. But I also love what you have said, Priscilla, before we close our session, before we end our session, sorry, is also the fact that just because the year has started, it doesn't mean that you have to rebuild all over again, because yes, it's a new year, but you can start where you are. I think for me, that is my takeaway.
That's absolutely true. You can start from where you are, and every day is a new day.
Absolutely. So don't be, what Priscilla is telling you and me, let's not be too hard on ourselves, because there's just so much pressure, Priscilla. So much pressure that, and sometimes actually I find with myself when I start looking at all my to-do list and I'm like, oh my gosh, where do I start? You actually I don't even get productive, because I find myself to be everywhere.
That's true. That's true.
Well, I hope this has encouraged you. I'm so grateful that I've had this conversation with Priscilla. If you would like to know more about what she does and, the sessions that she offers, please get in touch. Her information is below this conversation. And I can tell you, she has been a blessing to me and the Fortress women in our community in Dubai. And I'm sure this conversation on how to build the vision. It's not the vision of this world, it's more deeper, will also be helpful and encourage us, as you journey along. Priscilla, would you like to add anything?
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. And just want to say that wherever you start, just don't stop. Never settle for where you are. That was one of the things that I had put out on my own social media page this year, is just never settle for where you are. There's always something better, more to be able to achieve. We all know that, and we can definitely get there. That's for sure. But just never settle for where you are. and excited for what 2023 holds.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. I think we can all be hopeful because ultimately, I think personally, New Year is new, but there is only one. You know, the Lord is the one who makes everything new, and He makes everything new every day.
Every day, yeah. His
Not
mercies
last year, every day.
every day, absolutely.
Yeah, so I hope you have been encouraged. I would love to encourage you to share this conversation. You just never know who may need it. And yeah, write the vision and stay consistent. Tag along with someone. It's not about you, you, and you, and you. Be accountable to another person also, as much as someone else will be walking on this journey with you. Break it down, right? I'm just breaking it down for you now, what Priscilla said. And then consistency is the key. Don't stop. As she said, there is always something else ahead of us. Keep going. But I think prioritizing is also important, she said. And really, don't journey
Yes, that's right.
alone.
That's
I'll see you guys soon with another inspiring conversation on Fauza's Diary, just like this. Happy and a blessed 2023. I'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.